Cheer, you know what time it is. Let's go! Yo, banging on the beat, breaking the concrete, defeating demons on a daily basis, glowing radiance, raising the consciousness to the most high status, Lumen lyrical brightness, supreme natural intelligence. There's no coincidence that I'm rocking, feeding the knowledge to the masses. Vets and youth always speak the fire of truth, wisdom. Life is about growth or development, so build your light for the tests in life. Never give up, never let up. That's what's up. You know what time it is. So push forward, elevate your mind in the sun and rise.
Yeah, check it, listen, coming through, fire bun. I'm an intellectual to the precise decimal, mathematical root radicals. So we see this, I mean this, the fire of truth. From the sheer might, the fire of truth. Preach, teach, the fire of truth.
Just levitate, levitate, keep your head straight. Just levitate, levitate. Even if the world is so cold, we just levitate, shift these lies.
What's poppin', what's bubbling, my brothers and sisters? Welcome back to another Live Blaze Fire of Truth broadcast, brought to you by your brother, your soul sovereign son, the radiant one, supreme natural intelligence, intelligent genes, intelligenetics. You know what time it is, my brothers and sisters. We're going to be continuing the bombardment of the demolition ball of the high science on melanin power. You know what time it is, my brothers and sisters. We're going on part 3 regarding melanin science. Who says color doesn't matter? Listen to reason. Real sun raised from the sun, and listen to wisdom. So my brothers and sisters, we're going to be taking out the atomic bombs, the nuclear bombs of information. We're pulling out the books. We're pulling out all the stops because the ignorance gotta stop. So my brothers and sisters, you know what time it is. Let's get right to the matter at hand and let's hit that colossal, gigantic monstrosity, colossal home run, bringing all this knowledge and wisdom all the way. Let's go. So let's pull the big books out on melanin power. So today's book we're going to start with. We're going to be extracting some powerful information out of this book here to give you more information regarding the importance of melanin, which makes up the fabric of life. Or should I say, darkness, which makes up all of life. The reason why all life exists, because the potential that is contained within the blackness allows life to exist, and all things in existence, the elements, the forces of nature, it all comes out of the supreme power of blackness, which is God in the supreme state, the most high power in the supreme state. Listen up, listen to reason. So the first book we're going to be going into, let me share the screen. What makes black people black? How to protect and nourish melanin. Difference between black and white people. How it causes emotional behaviors and thoughts. How it is being used to destroy you. Being used against you. So this book is from Dr. Layla Africa. And we're going to be going to some of his information in here. So let's get right to it. Let's get to the forward introduction of his book to let you know what's going on here. It's all essential for your learning, your growth and development. Listen to reason and listen to wisdom. The subject of melanin. Remember, melanin, when you break it down, it simply means the black compound, the black polymer, the black molecule, the black substance. That's what melanin is. The subject of melanin is straightforward and simple to explain. And this is what I love. A measure of a truly intelligent person is making the complicated things simple. A measure of a ignorant and deceptive person is making the simple things complicated. And that's what a lot of those science papers do. They use all these massive big words, all these ridiculous words they use to confuse the people and make it seem you less than you really are, just because you don't know this word, or it's so ridiculously long. When you really get to the real meaning of the word, you find out that it's just simple. Why can't they just say that it's simple? If you're going to say that word, at least briefly tell us what it means. I'm wasting time on massive word. It's ridiculous. Like, the pronunciation of all those things is like, it's unnecessary. Just keep it simple. And this is what I like about Dr. Layla Africa. He's making this whole thing about the melanin science simple. And I got a few more books we're going to be going to. So we got a lot of information we got to get through, where we're starting with Dr. Layla Africa's book right here. So, the subject of melanin is straightforward and simple to explain. Melanin is a biochemical substance that drives physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual life. Remember, when you're dealing with spirit, you're dealing with the root and source of all things. Spirit is the energy. Spirit is simply energy. What makes the subject difficult to explain is the awkward, primitive Latin language, as I said at the start. The Latin language that make it sound like they're so sophisticated and high and mighty with those large words and those scientific papers regarding melanin and various other stuff. It's unnecessary to do all that. And Dr. Layla Africa is making it plain here to explain it awkwardly, the primitive Latin language that is used in science to confuse people. Any attempt to avoid the use of the Latin language of chemistry and biology makes information appear unscientific. And a lot of people who think they're so scientific, and when you're not scientific with certain words, or you don't know, if you don't pronounce the word right, they're gonna say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Saying a word correctly or wrong, it doesn't matter how the frick you say a word, because if another person tries to speak the word in another language, you're gonna say it with an accent. So stop being caught up on the pronunciation. Tomato, tomato. It doesn't matter. As long as you know how the thing works. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Don't worry about the pronunciation. Tomato, tomato. So what? You know what I'm saying regardless if I say tomato or tomato. You know what I'm talking about. So any attempt to avoid the use of the Latin language of chemistry and biology makes information appear unscientific and unintelligent, and that's how some people see it. When you can't pronounce a word, that's the way you see it. They're so ignorant and stupid. They think they're so smart. Oh, you didn't pronounce this right. Why should I listen to you? Ignorance. This was the challenge in writing. The only thing that should be judged is how you're teaching the information. That's it. Pronunciation is insignificant, and in the grand scheme of things. So, I'm going to repeat this again. Don't be worrying about pronunciations. You focus on you focus on the knowledge is what you should be focusing on. Stop focus on messenger. Focus on the message, the knowledge. Any attempt to avoid the use of Latin language of chemistry or biology makes information appear unscientific and unintelligent. This was the challenge in writing about melanin, having to write in everyday language and trying to avoid science Latin jargon, and that's what I love. He keeps it simple. You don't need to make it complicated. The lectures and books on melanin are very Latin jargon centered. That's why people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because it's so confusing reading those books. It's complicated sounding when you're reading about those things. Most black people that read about melanin say, what good is it? It does not help you be free. They of course are correct. A black person is unaware of melanin is manipulated and controlled by their unawareness. So what he's saying here is that your melanin can be a double-edged sword because it amplifies your consciousness. So if you're ignorant, it's going to amplify your ignorance. If you're intelligent, it's going to amplify your intelligence or your physical ability. If you have genetic weaknesses, your melanin is not going to be able to help you. It's going to be able to boost your ability, but at the same time, if you have genetic weaknesses and a lack of nutrition in your body, it's only going to be able to do so much for you. Just as it's opposite too. It's double-edged sword. If you have ignorance, it's going to amplify that. So you got to be careful. They, of course, are correct. A black person is unaware of melanin is manipulated and controlled by their unawareness. So the shadow powers know how melanin works. They know how to use it against you. The hidden hand know what they're doing. They know the science. That's why they hide it behind Latin jargon, large words to confuse you so you don't understand what's really going on in this world. Black people need to know the basics about melanin and how to nourish melanin so they can get some positive use from it. Black people are controlled by their failure to realize that the black race is a melanin dominant race. The key to controlling black people is to reduce their blackness, melanin usage, and knowledge. That's what they do on a daily basis through the grand scope of all of entertainment and Western life. They like to belittle everything that is black, make it evil, make you run away from it, so you don't get the power and benefits from it. That's what they do all day, every day. Every image that you see is always pushing some pale or light-skinned person all the time. Making it seem that's ultimate form of beauty, or making it seem that's ultimate form of intelligence, is always pushing Einstein and Tesla, all those European guys. They never talk about they never talk about other races very often, especially black people is the last one mentioned. Any intelligent person that's black, they're the last ones mentioned. They rather mention some Asian person, or they're gonna mention some other person before they get to the black people. They mention everybody else, but they keep the black people last to be mentioned because they want to keep that knowledge of the power of blackness down. Power of blackness down. All right. So the key to controlling black people is to reduce the blackness, melanin usage, and knowledge. This will reduce their variability to be black, which will directly affect their ability to be human. What is hue? Hue is color. So a colored man. And seek what is humanly theirs. Freedom. Freedom, when you break it down, it means free your domain. Because your domain is in a prison. You're in a prison of ignorance, a prison of deception, in the matrix, made up tricks, the art of misdirection, the art of distraction, and the art of deception through the usage of tongue, language, words of art is used to manipulate and control you, to subject you under the authority, to make you seem less than. If you don't know certain terminology and certain scientific terms that they hide behind to make it seem like they know more than you. This will reduce their variability to be black, which will directly affect their ability to be human and seek what is humanly theirs. Freedom. Free your mind. Free your domain. Free your mind and body. Your body is your mind is your body. Your mind is every cell working together in synchronicity, synergy, unison, simultaneously. It's the constant communication with one another. That's when all your cells, your whole organism is communicating with one another. All the cells are communicating, forming the what? The mind, the mastermind. Black people are a race nourishing themselves as if they are Caucasians. I don't think you heard me. Black people are a race nourishing themselves as if they are Caucasians. Sheesh.
What? Slow motion this side.
The very medical field, the very health field in Western society is very racist. Most things are centered around a European Caucasian physiology. And that's the problem. That's why black people suffer. Because their physiology and the living biochemistry is different. It doesn't operate exactly the same thing. Yes, we are all humans. Yes, we are similar. However, our living biochemistry does not operate the same way. It doesn't function exactly the same way. There is commonalities, but we don't operate the same way. Simply because of the melanin content, which allows us to operate a little bit different. I've already told you through 1 and 2 what this is all about. So we're just diving deep. We're digging deep in the dirt of the earth to get to the root of the truth in all things. So you need to hear this again. Black people are a race nourishing themselves as if they are European Caucasians. Since the Caucasians have the least amount of melanin, then black people that eat as if they are Caucasians are giving themselves the least amount of nourishment to their melanin. Did you hear that? Since the Caucasians have the least amount of melanin, then black people that eat as if they are Caucasians or live as if they are Caucasians are giving themselves the least amount of nourishment to their melanin. So if you are a black person that's always indoors, you're running like this, running from the sun, you're acting like you're peeing, putting hats on, putting shades on, all that stuff you're doing, you are suppressing your kinetic potential by doing that. You are the people of the sun by nature. You're most in tune with nature because of your melanin. The universe is black. So obviously the people with the most melanin content or the black compound within them are going to be the most in tune. It's not just about external melanin, it's internal melanin as well. It's a combination you got to come together. If you're acting like a Caucasian, running from that sun all the time, acting like that indoors all the time, going out in the sun for vacation, enjoying the sun temporarily, but as soon as they reach the threshold, they get scorched and run inside. Oh, it's too hot. Too hot, do this, complaining all the time, hiding in the shade. And a lot of black people act like that. Act like Caucasians. That's why they're acting ignorant. That melanin is amplifying their ignorance and stupidity. They can't get above the dirt most of the time because they're operating in the destruction of ignorance, lack of knowledge. Don't be copying them. You're not them. You're supposed to be in the sun all day. Since the Caucasians have the least amount of melanin, the black people that eat as if they are Caucasians are giving themselves the least amount of nourishment to the melanin. And I gotta speak to the European Caucasians as well, because you need to get your melanin up too. White folks are being destroyed because of their lack of melanin. That's why their birth rate is negative. So you better be upgrading and eating better, getting more nourishment, getting that color spectrum, eating darker fruits and veggies, building your melanin, increasing your threshold in that sun, if you want to survive and thrive in that sun eventually and get back your melanin that you lost. You running from the sun all the time is not the solution. You need to find ways to improve your threshold in that sun so you get to continue on living if that's what you want to do. Since the Caucasians have the least amount of melanin, then black people that eat as if they are Caucasians are giving themselves the least amount of nourishment of their melanin. This causes them to utilize the melanin the least. Did you hear that? All because of that, you're not using your melanin. Therefore, you might as well be a Caucasian and not lacking melanin. In fact, it's probably even worse. It's worse for you because melanin amplifies your condition. If you're full of ignorance, it's going to amplify your ignorance. So you're going into even worse than the average. You're going to a worse state than the average Caucasian even. Therefore, black people are nutritionally against their own melanin and anti-melanin. We see that all the day. The black woman putting on weaves, straightening the hair, acting like a European. If your hair ain't straight, don't do that. If your hair ain't red, blonde, don't be doing that. You're killing yourself. Why would you put dye in your hair? Why would you straighten your hair? You're reducing your ability to be in tune with the universe, or in tune with the source, in tune with the roots of God. Why would you straighten your coiled hair? In technology, it's coiled antennas are the most powerful. They have the highest transmission rate of sending and receiving. When you straighten an antenna, you weaken it. The more spirals an antenna has, the stronger it is. It's the same thing with the melanin. You better be getting your melanin up. You're doing everything to destroy your melanin. And that's why you're amplified in ignorance. And you amplify yourself in the dirt all the time. Stop trying to live in other people's culture. Live your own. Have pride in your own culture. Being in tune with the earth. Being in tune with nature. Truth blazing. Facts blazing. Facts being manufactured in a factory. For your blast. For your bun. Let's go. They are ignorantly fighting against melanin and themselves. So you putting shades on, you putting a hat on, running from the sun, reducing your sun exposure, you are ignorantly fighting against melanin and themselves. That includes the Caucasians. You got to stop running Caucasians from that sun. You got to find ways to improve your condition to get your melanin back in a natural way. Stop running. And start being honorable on the planet again, instead of being a savage in general. Not all Europeans or Caucasians are savages. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you want to get your melanin back, you got to act in tune with nature and respect nature. Stop destroying everything you see. You're always at war with nature. That's why. That's why you're cursed to a certain extent. Cursed means to have a disease, to be lacking melanin. Curse means to be that you're distanced away from God. That's what it is. Your lack of ability to be in tune with the sun means it's a curse from God, or it's a disease. The extreme part of lacking melanin is albinism. This is science. You know how hard it is for an albino in the sun. They get burnt easy. They can't stay in the sun too long. Because they get boils, they get burnt, scorched, skin peels if they get too much sun exposure because they lack melanin. They have a bunch of physical issues because of that. And mental issues because of it, to a certain extent. Not that there's intelligent albinos. I know some intelligent albino. I met some. But they have issues, physical issues, because of that disease. Lacking melanin. Their potential is limited because they lack melanin. Because melanin is the amplifier of your overall abilities in your body. So you gotta stop fighting against your melanin in ignorance. And stop copying other races. The other races that act like vampires, running from the sun. In this writing, I have briefly attempted to reveal melanin's properties and how the human body biochemically uses and nourishes it. The melanin. The black races under education. The black race is under education, lack of education, diseducation, dysfunctional, and miseducation about melanin merely reflects one particle of their white domination and post-traumatic colonialism trauma and post-traumatic slavery trauma. Black people must know thyself. What do I say? It's all about knowledge of yourself, knowledge of how your cells work. And the centerpiece of your cells that allow your cells to work intelligently is melanin. And to know yourself is to know melanin. Sheesh! Truth blazing, facts blazing, facts being manufactured in a factory. That includes the European Caucasians. You better get your melanin up. About the pineal gland and melanin. Next, the subsection now. What's poppin', Brother Ahmed? Brother Gula Roots, welcome to the Fire of Truth. I see you. Peace, love, and unity to you as well, brother. So let's continue. Let's get the power picture presentation on the go now. Now you got the point. So let's get that on as well. The scientific literature has very few objective facts and many science principles and rules are subjective fairy tale stories called theory. The scientific literature has very few objective facts and many science principles and rules are subjective fairy tale stories called theory. All theories are unproven and unscientific. You have to have a theorem to have facts. Theories are just your attempt to use the facts to come up with ideas, which is still unconfirmed. Theorem is when you got everything together, when you got your facts and you got what you're trying, your ideas together with the facts completely, and it could be proven consistently. All theories are unproven and unscientific unless you could prove it openly on a daily basis, unless you could prove it. The objective facts are that black people are a race that has the highest amount of the biochemical pigment called melanin. Melanin is civilizing chemical. Melanin is a civilizing chemical, reproduces itself, a free radical protector, as mentioned before through the science papers, can be transformed in the blood, concentrates nerve and brain information, so it forms organizations, it organizes information, what it's saying here, organizes information, organizes energy systems, metabolism, reproduces itself, free radical protector, can be transferred in the blood, concentrates nerve. We know nerve is a sense. Hair is an extension of your nervous system. It senses the electromagnetic nuances in an environment. Same thing with your physical senses. You're sensing electromagnetic signals through different perceptions and perspectives through your senses. But in actuality, in reality, all your 5+ senses is touch. It goes back to the root source. All of it is touch. It's a different form of touch, but it's all touch. When light particles hit your eyes, that's touch. When sound waves hit your ears, that's touch. When particles hit your tongue, that's touch. When you physically touch something, that's what's considered regular touch, right? When you smell something, you're smelling the particles of the touch. It's all touch. When you're using your ESP, your extrasensory, you have a feeling that this person has bad energy or they have something must be up with this person. You just feel it. You're feeling their energy that they're emanating out. Their mind is emanating a certain energy, that you're feeling that energy. That's the same thing. That's the plus after the 5+ senses, going into extrasensory perception. Extra to be emphasized. So, Melanin is a civilizing chemical, reproduces itself, a free radical protector, can be transformed in the blood, concentrates nerve and brain information, neutralizes, oxidizes, or breaks down, converts substances, reduces or builds another substance, and is unchanged by radiation and high temperatures. We talked about the other day. Melanin is photosynthetic and photovoltaic. Photosynthesize simply means photo is light. Synthesize means to bring together, combine. So melanin is able to combine the electromagnetic radiation in the environment of nature and organize and neutralize it for its benefit. Photovoltaic simply means transmuting or converting light into electricity and magnetism. Voltage is representing electricity and magnetism. Photo is light conversion to electricity and magnetism, and vice versa. So you go look those terminologies up and you go do your research. So photovoltaism is the same thing as solar panel. So what do solar panels do? Take the light energy from the sun and convert it to another form of energy. Electricity. Magnetism. And that's what melanin does at an organic level as well. In fact, solar panels is a reflection of melanin through artificial form. So let's move on, because I want to keep this within the hour. I don't want to make the video too long. But we got to get through information. We got a lot to cover here. Melanin is a civilizing chemical, reproduces itself, a free radical protector, can be transformed in the blood, concentrates nerve and brain information, neutralizes, oxidizes, breaks down, converts substances, reduces and builds another substance, and is unchanged by radiation and high temperatures. Melanin is inside and outside the body. So we talked about the other in the first two. The internal melanin is called neuromelanin or central nervous system melanin. That regulates your internal chemistry, whether it's mental function or systematic function in your body. Intelligence and various other metabolic functions in your body. Anabolic, catabolic. Melanin regulates all of that. Hormones, melanin regulates all of that. Immune system, melanin is a major part of all of that. Your external melanin is plain obvious. That's like a solar panel of your body. The darker you are, the more efficient your energy conversion from the sun is. The more melanin you have externally, the more efficient the energy conversion or your photovoltaism is. You're more efficient at converting the light energy of the sun into electromagnetism for the animation and motility of your body, mentally and physically. So the more melanin a race has, the more human and civilized the race is. Science myths, theory, have clouded and avoided the true information about melanin and the pineal gland that secretes melanin, which is really melatonin. They're a little bit different. So I have to say that. I have to make sure it's clear. Melatonin is a form of melanin, but it's not exactly the same melanin on your skin. It's not the same exact melanin that's in your neural central nervous system. It's not exactly the same, but it's a derivative of melanin that regulates your circadian rhythm, your wake cycle and your sleep cycle. So it's called melatonin. It's a derivative of the melanin, of the different hormones. There's different types of melanin your body uses. Keep that in mind. All melanin is not the same and doesn't function it's the same in every aspect. There's different types of melanin for different purposes. But the pineal gland deals with a derivative of melanin called melatonin, which regulates sleep and wake cycle, like I said. Melanin is the vital chemical that makes life itself, as I mentioned so many times in the past. For years. It makes life itself. The most important mineral element within melanin is carbon. Carbon is the bonding element. It brings elements together. That's what carbon does. It's the glue of life. It's the bonding of life. That allows you to deal with chemistry. Manipulating the carbon or the melanin. Carbon is a main factor in manipulating the elements and creating elements. But the basic chemical structure of melanin is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. It's mostly made up of carbon though. So carbon, mostly made up, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. So the more melanin a race has, the more human and civilized the race. Science myths theory have clouded and avoided the true information about melanin and the pineal gland that secretes melanin, or melatonin to be more accurate. Melanin is the vital chemical that makes life itself. It is usually brown to black in color. Melanin is... So let me stop here for a moment. Remember, melanin in its pure form is black to brown. And then when melanin gets mutated and genetically modified through environment and different conditions, it goes to what? Yellow, red, blonde. That's called pheomelanin. The scientific term for that is called pheomelanin. That's predominantly what lighter skinned people have. Mixed races have a combination of either or. They could go to one side or the other depending on the environment. Easy. They could go from one side to another. For example, myself. When winter comes, I get lighter. Plainly. And then when I get summertime, obviously I get extremely dark. I'm like in that in between. So I could go really dark or really light depending on the environment. White people have a hard time getting dark. They usually have to go through getting burnt to get some color. They have to condition, they have to calibrate and tune their body during the springtime, and they have to do this over several years in order for the skin to start producing and getting some of their melanin back. They also have to start eating more pigmented foods that have color, darker color foods to start building the melanin. Black people are pretty much stay dark for most of the time, and they get darker when the summer comes. They get darker, obviously. You already know the situation regarding that. So melanin is the vital chemical that makes life itself. So black and brown is called eumelanin, scientific term. The yellow, red, blonde, that's called pheomelanin. The plant melanin is called allomelanin. So those are terminologies you could go look up and study for yourself. And your internal melanin, central nervous system melanin, is called neural melanin. And there's even different melanins even inside the central nervous system, like melatonin is a derivative of melanin. That melanin is a little bit different than other melanins, that's for circadian rhythm. wake and sleep cycles. But generally it's called neuromelanin, with the melanin that's in your brain, in your central nervous system. So melanin is flexible like plastic. Can resemble a cloud. That's why they call it a polymer. Plastic polymer. Plastic is because polymer has many different forms. Can take shapes. Melanin is flexible like plastic. Can resemble a cloud, gas, wood, metal, or liquid, and takes on many forms without losing its structure. Similar to water. Because we know water can freeze, liquid, solid, liquid, gas. It is heat resistant, can endure temperatures of 1225 Fahrenheit, has a pleasant odor, resists X-ray diffraction. This is why when you go to the doctor to get X-ray, black people, they have to turn up the X-ray machine to a higher energy level in order to get access to see what's inside of you. With white people, they gotta turn it. They turn it down to the regular one. But when black people go in, or when people, a melanated black person goes in, they have to turn it up in order to get inside. Because, as it says, melanin resists X-ray diffraction, resists strong acids and alkaline, etc. Melanin is found in the environment. Springs, lakes, soil, plants, atmosphere, and animals. So I have to go back to the X-ray thing. I've already told you, melanin is photovoltaic. So it's able to efficiently organize the electromagnetic radiation dynamically, no matter what frequency it is. From radio to micro to infrared to ultraviolet to gamma, to X-ray to gamma, and whatever, all across the spectrum, it's able to more efficiently organize these energies and convert it to an energy source that is of conducefulness in the body for different purposes, mentally and physically, rather than allow it to destroy. So it actually, in a way, it protects your body. It resists damage because it's able to convert that energy into and organize it from chaos or damaging to something more in harmony and usefulness in the body. But obviously, we have limits as humans. We have limits. Life has limits. But as they test melanin in minerals and those forms, they have a wider range of resistance compared to the organic melanin, obviously. You have to use common sense here. So melanin is found in the environment, springs, lakes, soil, plants, atmosphere, and animals. So you need to look up black body radiation as well. Look up white body radiation, photovoltaics, photosynthesis. What's the other one? Crystals. Look up crystals. Look up piezoelectricity. It's all centered around melanin and regulation of energy, of the electromagnetic radiation. They all correlate with one another. And they're all used in technology. Heavily, heavily, heavily. The pituitary gland, which is a gland in the middle. Hold on, did I skip something here? Okay, yeah, melanin is found in environments, springs, lakes, soil, plants, atmosphere, and animals. The pituitary gland, which is called in the middle, remember that melanin is a black compound. The pituitary gland, which is a gland in the middle of the brain that secretes growth hormones, has been erroneously called the master gland. That's what Layla Africa says. But in general science, they call it the master gland. So either way, pituitary gland produces melanocyte-stimulating hormone, MSH. That allows your body to produce melanin throughout the body in its different derivative forms. And it's considered the master gland, but in Layla Africa's eyes, he says it's not necessarily the master gland in Layla Africa, Dr. Layla Africa's eyes, in his studies. However, the pineal gland, which is also in the middle of the brain, is true. However, the pineal gland, which is also in the middle of the brain, is the true master gland. So to Dr. Layla Africa, he says the pineal gland is the master gland, truly. The pineal gland secretes melanin, which regulates all bodily functions and glands, cycles, circadian rhythms in the body. As I mentioned before, the pineal gland does that. And I could kind of see why he says the pineal gland is really the master gland. Because the fact that the pineal gland regulates the daylight circadian rhythm and nighttime circadian rhythm, that's a lot of power there. So I kind of see why he says the pineal gland is the master gland over the pituitary gland in that sense. Because melanin is all about the daylight energy, nighttime energy. And pineal gland regulates that. Pituitary gland doesn't necessarily regulate that. It just sends out instructions to other glands to do what it's supposed to do in the body. But the pituitary gland sends out the hormone of melanocyte-stimulating hormone. Pineal gland produces melatonin, a melanin derivative that's not quite the same as other melanin in the body. It regulates circadian rhythm, wake and sleep cycle. And the purpose of melatonin is for revitalization, rejuvenation, healing, rebuilding the body, putting the body back in harmony, peace and balance, order, structure, organization. That's what melanin does at nighttime with the melatonin. Puts your body at ease, at rest, at peace. And during the day, it gives you the focus. It gives you the energy to move through the day, the animation, the motivity. It does it through what? Amino acids of tryptophan. Tryptophan is the pre-status of serotonin, which is the daylight version, which is the polar opposite of melatonin. So serotonin gives you the focus, the energy to put in work during the day. Melatonin relaxes your body for regeneration, healing, revitalization, rejuvenation. Melanin is a biochemical that has a high molecular weight. This means it has many functions and links like a chain that contains carbon, nitrogen, ether, saturated carbon, unsaturated carbon, organometallic peroxides, and is essentially a black carbon hydroamine. And the aromatic amino acids are a major part of melanin, tyrosine specifically. Tyrosine helps you to build melanin in your body. So you need to get some tyrosine in your body to build your melanin. Same thing as tryptophan, phenylalanine. The three chief aromatic amino acids. The three chief amino acids are specifically called aromatic amino acids because it has a benzene ring or a star, 6 star, that has a function of capturing and holding on to light. sound, and electromagnetism. And it works together with phosphorus, ATP, with the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the power plant, the power facility, the power faculty of the cell. That produces your body's cellular energy for metabolism by recycling light, electricity, and magnetism, converting it through photovoltaicism back and forth, converting light to electricity, magnetism to light. That's why light gets absorbed. It gets absorbed into you, and you emit light as well. Blackness represents the force of absorption, like a black hole. It absorbs everything. White projects, reflects, refracts everything out of the blackness. Polarity complements. Black body radiation, white body radiation, look it up. So, this means it has many functions. Melanin is a biochemical that has a high molecular weight. This means it has many functions and links like a chain that contains carbon, nitrogen, ether, saturated carbon, carbon, unsaturated carbon, organometallic peroxides, and is essentially black carbon hydroamine. These various links allows melanin to be a polymer. Takes many forms. And polycyclic many rhythms, in other words. See what Little Africa does? Why can't scientific papers do this? He uses a scientific term called polycyclic, and then he puts it in brackets. Many rhythms, breaking down the etymology meaning. This is intelligence. And have a unique property. And this is what I do all the time with my videos. When I say words, I break it down to how I see it and how I see it. What the etymology is. That's what I do all the time. And this is what you're doing. Giving you a scientific term, a technical term. Oh, what's the technical term for this? Do you know what you're talking about? Well, let's make it simpler. People are not going to know what this is. What is polycyclic? But he breaks it down in brackets. Many rhythms. Simply. If you want more details on it, then you look it up further. He made it as simple as possible for what this is. And have a unique property and flexible chemical ability. A measure of a person's intelligence is making the complicated things simple. Inside the melanocytes are smaller organs, organelle, called melanosomes, which make melanin. Inside the melanocytes are smaller organs called organelle, called melanosome, which make melanin. Inside the endoplasmic reticulum, the melanosomes are made. In other words, small cells build bigger cells build larger cells. And the end product of all the building from a small particle into a larger particle is the chemical melanin. That's anabolic, catabolic. Anabolic is building up, catabolic is breaking down. That's scientific terminology. Anabolic, building up, catabolic, breaking down. Melanin essentially produces itself with substances such as copper. Melanin absorbs all types of energy such as sunlight, electromagnetic, music heard by the human ear, and sounds the human ear cannot hear. Phones, waves, radio waves, radar, computer radiation, X-ray, cosmic rays, ultraviolet rays, heat waves, microwaves, etc. So as I said, Melanin is an amplifier. It is an absorber and it's an amplifier. It's an organizer. It neutralizes. It puts everything in balance. This is why black people are so in tune with the rhythms and patterns of life. Naturally. White folks have to really work on it just to work on themselves to get in tune. They have to practice. They have to actually get dance lenses and all that stuff. That's the difference. Black people could dance. In most cases, black folks could dance without being taught. This is a simple example of the power of melanin. Just using a simple everyday example that people like and to entertainment I'm using. Black people could just dance easily because they're in tune with the rhythms of life. In most cases, white folks got to practice over and over and over to mimic how black people could dance. Everybody could dance good if they practice at it, but ultimately, natural abilities come with black because of the melanin. They're in tune automatically with the source, the blackness. So naturally, on average, and in most cases, black folks are going to be able to do a lot of things much more easier than the average other races in the human family. Simply because, as he says here, what does melanin do? It's photovoltaic. Melanin absorbs all types of energy such as sunlight. And if melanin could absorb all these different dynamic energies, it's able to absorb the information, the intelligence, the knowledge, the wisdom, the vibration, the movement, the rhythm, the pattern. And it's able to decipher, decrypt it, and make use of it in a cipher of life, depending on what you want to do. So melanin absorbs all types of energy, such as sunlight, electromagnetic, music, heard by the human ear, and sounds the human ear cannot hear, phone waves, radio waves, radar, computer radiation, X-ray, cosmic rays, ultraviolet rays, heat waves, microwaves. Melanin uses the energy in the total environment, such as water, energy, earth, moon, sun, galaxy, cycles of planets, cycles of minerals, etc. So in other words, melanin, to make this simple, melanin is able to transmute the forces and elements of electricity, magnetism, light or photons, sound, and thermal heat. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, how much do we have left here? Okay, good, we're almost done. We're going to conclude this part. A few more paragraphs, and then we're going to be finishing off this lab lace for today. On the molecular level, on the molecular level, the melanin particles called electrons, protons, neutrons, and solutions rearrange their orbits. This is called resonance. In other words, the melanin particles vibrate and rearrange themselves to fill the weak, low energy sites. Resonance causes a particle to move. This movement causes a small gap, low energy site, and the other particles rearrange themselves to double bond, shift, fill the gap. Melanin is the natural chemical that makes black people's skin black. Powerful herbal tea right here. Ginger root with some strong back herb, Caribbean herb mix here. Spice. You know, you gotta put that spice and seasoning with this knowledge, right? And I got right here. It is present in the black people's bodies. Skin cells, nerves, brain, muscle, bones, reproductive and digestive systems, and all bodily functions in a higher amount than all other races. Melanin is a biological active substance of various size cells. It is made up of nutrients such as indoles, histamines, phenylalanine, catecholamines, norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, etc. And the amino acids, tyrosine, as I mentioned earlier. Melanin is made up of various attached parts called chains, which are linked to unsaturated, carbon, saturated carbon, nitrogen, organ metallic ether, peroxides, and quinine, which are brown to black in color. Chemicals such as flavin, pteridines, flavonoid, naphquinone, polycyclic quinone, anthraquinone, phenoxyazones convert into melanin, polymerize or copolymerize. The color of melanin appears as black people. It is absorbing all colors. The color of melanin appears as black because it is absorbing all colors. Taught this for years. So blackness is all the colors combined in synchronicity, unison, synergy simultaneously. So when everything is in black, everything is at peace, harmony, tranquility. White is the opposite. It projects all the potential within the blackness in separation. Whiteness is the carrier of all the potential of the blackness, projected, reflected, deflected out. That's what the world we're living in. We're living in a holographic realm right now of one of the potentials in the blackness. There's many universes. We're in one of the potentials of the universe right now. Kinetic potential. We're moving right now, so we're kinetically moving. We're one of the potentials that is kinetically moving right now. There's many other universes. Who knows how much universes there is? Millions, trillions, and it's always expanding. Those are different potentials coming from the blackness. And whiteness creates that potential and turns it into kinetic potential. Working together with the blackness to make it discernible, viewable, to give distinction. Because the blackness is so dynamic and so vast. It's eternity. How can you discern eternity if you're a limited being? That's why we see blackness as nothing, because we can't see nothing, because we're a limited being in this form that we're living in. We're a limited being. How could we see what's in eternity? We need the white light to limit or to fragment or to partition the potentials within the blackness. So we could actually discern and see what's going on. One of the potentials of what's going on. You ain't ready, man. You ain't ready? Supreme natural intelligence, you know what time it is.
What? Slow motion this side.
The color of melanin appears as black because it's absorbing all colors. So all light electromagnetic radiation absorbs in life, the cipher of life. Once the color enters the melanin, it cannot escape, so it acts as a black hole. Melanin organizes those energies by regulating and putting ma'at on it, homeostasis, proactive balance. Equilibrium is established when melanin grabs onto those energies. Melanin is concentrated colors. Melanin is concentrated colors. So obviously the opposite of white. White is a devoid of color. Lack color. The whiter you are, the more you lack. You lack color. It's obvious. If melanin is a concentration of the colors all together, whiteness is the opposite of it. It is a cellular black hole, similar to the black holes in outer space. The human eye only sees color that are reflected away from an object. And remember, the pupil is a perfect black cipher radiator. Because it's pitch black. It's literally a micro version of a black hole that you see in space. Literally. Your pupil, that black cipher in your eye, is a perfect black cipher radiator that absorbs all light, all energy, all frequency. There's nothing darker than your eye pupil. That's why it's important that you must solar gaze. If you want to build your energy, build your power, you gotta solar gaze. You gotta practice looking at the sun. That's the closest thing to seeing God. And a lot of you are running because the sun's too strong for a lot of you. You running, you putting shades on, you hiding. The power of God too much for you, and you're running. It's the Europeans running because they're getting scorched. But you're missing out on a lot of information. You better get your melanin up. You better strengthen your body. Stop running all the time. Strengthen your body and study. Get into with nature. Stop running. And black folks, I'm talking to you as well. You're running like Europeans too. You're running. The color of melanin appears as black because it is absorbing all colors. Once a color enters the melanin, it cannot escape. Melanin is concentrated colors. It is a cellular black hole similar to the black holes in outer space. The human eye only sees color that are reflected away from an object. If an object appears black in color, that means the object is absorbing all colors except black. If an object appears black in color, that means that the object is absorbing all colors except black. Black is reflected away from the object. Consequently, you see black. Black is a pigment color that makes carbon black in appearance. Black is a pigment color that makes carbon black in appearance. Remember, carbon is the element of bonding, combining. So I'm going to put that in conclusion here for now as it pertains to this. We're going to continue to go in with the melanin science breakdown, my brothers and sisters, but we're putting this to a conclusion on this part for now. You've heard the truth. That's the fire of truth, and nothing but the whole, living, unified truth, my brothers and sisters. Awaken your mind and get your behind back to the organic internet mainframe of Almighty Nature, which is the unified field, the collective consciousness of the divine, the great vine, derived from the vine of which you get your information, knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence from. Listen to reason. Listen to wisdom. My brothers and sisters, you know what time it is. The truth is being blazed up right now. You know what time it is. 3 things that cannot long be hidden. The sun, the moon, the truth. The sun. You better get your melanin up so you can get all the intelligence that the sun is trying to give you. You running from the sun is keeping you stupid and ignorant, and it's causing you to perish prematurely. So you better be getting at that sun. You better be getting that moon energy, that female energy, reflecting the sun's light during the night as well. And you better be getting the truth, which is the combination of the two. Sheesh. You know what time it is, man. Sheesh. Truth blazing, facts blazing, facts being manufactured in the factory. Fire blast, fire burn. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Mmm. Slow motion this side.
Gotta represent life. Phallus, womb. Man, brother Gala Roots, man, you been this going in with the comments, man. Sheesh. Black molasses is melanin. Indeed, has a lot of melanin in it. The darker the natural food from the seed, the more melanin. Yep. Indeed. Facts. Blazing. Truth blazing. Facts be manufactured in a factory. The cosmos is black. Yes. Energy. Yeah. Not Drac energy. This guy going in with all this stuff, man. Dr. Oyibo calls it hiding the origin. Alright, brother, I'm gonna put this to close. We'll get to this next time, man. Gagut. Yep, brother, yep. I see you, man. So you're a Gagutian, brother Gula Roots. The master equation, Gagut, which he surpassed Einstein's equation, right? E equals mc squared, but Dr. Gabriel Oyibo advanced that, right? With the equation of the universe. Gij colon J equals 0. The supreme equation above Einstein. And he's not recognized for it. And at mass scale, but yet they want to push Einstein and Tesla. Powerful, yeah, brother. Dr. Gabriel Oyibo, powerful man. Powerful mathematician and scientist. That doesn't get his due love and credit. White folks don't want to give him credit. They're mad. They're mad that the black man completed the equation. They don't want to be promoting him, but yet Harvard and Yale have his information in their studies, but they don't want to give him true credit. You never really hear anybody talk about this guy. That's true. You never really hear it. But anyways, I'm gonna put this to a conclusion. Peace, brothers and sisters. Holistic true peace, true power, and true elevation. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Solutions are here every day, all day. You know what time it is. Power, picture, presentation, changing your life, making you think right. So you know right, so you can live right. You know what time it is. Peace.
Yeah, check it. Yeah, check it. Listen,
Coming through.
fire bun. I'm an intellectual to the precise decimal. Mathematical root radicals. So we see this, I mean this. The fire of truth. From the sheer might, the fire of truth. Preach, teach, the fire of truth.
Just levitate, levitate. Keep your head straight. Just levitate, levitate. Even if the world is so cold, we just levitate, levitate. Shed these lies.
Balance is key, foundation you see, harmony we see, nature we free, spirit we agree, preach and teach, the flock we reach, peace we feast, Ecclesiastics 3, Barak Shalom hour, inner peace power, reason in season, there's meaning in beacon and wisdom we season, peace to the most high, the most high, 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 peace to the most high, the most high.